There is a gross misconception about money, and that people don't fully understand what it looks like. Movies and TV shows represent large amounts of money inconsistently, so some may think $1 million is not much, while some may believe you need 2 suitcases to carry that amount. In reality, this is what $1 million looks like.
This right here represents $100,000, okay? That's $250,000. That represents $1 million in cash right here.
And while some may believe $1 billion is merely one step above $1 million, this is what $1 billion actually looks like. Jeff Bezos, the richest man on the planet and founder of Amazon, which currently employs 1.4 million people worldwide, has a net worth of $201.7 billion. Yet workers in Amazon's warehouses are paid just $18 an hour and are afforded little human rights. An article in the New York Times revealed that Amazon has an incredible rate of employee turnover. Errors on their part cause workers to lose their jobs, and their aggressive monitoring system makes employees fear taking breaks. So with harmful working conditions and a less than fair compensation, why do people still work for companies like Amazon? Because the system is rigged. You buy a loaf of bread for $1.75. What does that money mean to you? What does it represent? Is it a piece of paper that you are now trading for a product? Or is it the time you took to make that $1.75, which you are now trading for a loaf of bread? If you work 8 hours a day, you get paid for those 8 hours. But if you had to take a leave for 2 hours because your child needs to see a doctor, you only get paid for 6 hours of work. If you need to buy a car, you are now pulling extra hours to make enough money to buy it. What are you trading for goods and services? Time or money? This is the loop you are in. The average hardworking American is in a financial trap that makes him work 40 to 45 years before retiring, so there would be a considerable amount of resentment on his part when he sees millionaire YouTube influencers and billionaire software developers living life on what he considers easy mode. And as much as we may vilify rich people and portray them as entitled, spoiled, and arrogant in our movies, the fact is, they have broken out of this loop. And sure, there's a lot to be said about how billionaires should contribute to society and make a difference. But here's another truth. You are upset that you haven't figured out a way to break out of this loop yourself. There is no war that you win when you assign money any value other than monetary. Money is not discriminatory, and it is not the root of all evil. A CNBC article from 2019 shows that nearly 68% of the world's wealthiest are self-made. This includes Oprah Winfrey, a black woman born in poverty who climbed the ranks to become one of the highest paid stars in the world. Starbucks founder Howard Schultz grew up in a housing complex for the poor. Forever 21 founder Do Won Chang worked as a janitor and a barista when he moved to America from Korea. And it's safe to assume they all went through an education system that did them no favors when it came to educating them on financial management. So what do all these people know that you don't? First, that there is a big difference between earning money and making money. And while these people make money, you work long hours and sacrifice your health, sleep, and time just earning it. Our schools have ingrained in us that in order to survive, we need money, and to have money, we must work. So, the sole purpose of your education becomes getting a job. In every conceivable way, poverty is taught and passed on in schools. The education system does not teach you about money, how to make it, or how to be a boss, not a worker.
The school system will never teach you about money. The school system was designed to teach you to be an employee, which is important, or a doctor or a lawyer, a specialist, but never about money.
Teach your kids that success is not tied to education. Get an education, because being dumb is not a good idea. But no matter how many degrees you have, nobody promised you a rose garden, darling.
Schools do not teach you the value of taking a risk, taking a chance on yourself, or how to create a business out of doing what you're passionate about. The lack of autonomy and grossly outdated curriculum only further entrenches the most ambitious into the same poverty loop. Any profession that doesn't promise a stable paycheck is frowned upon, and you live your life running after money instead of making it work for you.
A lot of people are addicted to that paycheck. They're so afraid to venture out on their own and not have the security of that paycheck.
The rich know you are trading your time for money, and when you do that, there is only so much money you can make in a day. If you were paid hourly, even if you worked 24 hours a day for $18 an hour, you could never make more than $432 a day. Realistically speaking, if you worked 40 hours a week at $18 an hour, it would take you 26 years to make $1 million. That's without deducting tax or living expenses and not accounting for inflation, which would make your dollar less valuable. So what now? You understand the value of money and how you trade it for time, and you see the flawed education system. How does this help you, a regular working person living paycheck to paycheck? Is financial education enough to bring you out of this loop? No, because poverty isn't just taught, it is enforced.
When you structure a hierarchy, you get winners and you get losers, and that can get really steep. So the winners take all and the losers have nothing.
The top 1% has more wealth than the bottom 90%. According to the National Center for Policy Analysis, nearly 10 million families in America lost their homes during the housing crisis, resulting in a resegregation of city neighborhoods. And who did the American government bail out with $700 billion? Banks. The average American family makes about $54,000, but the average household credit card debt is $16,000. Those with a mortgage over $176,000. Those with car debts owe $29,000, and those with student loans over $50,000. Yet the United States spent $725 billion on its military during 2020, the year a pandemic dehoused millions of people. The cards are stacked against you. You know this, but you can't avoid making money and taking loans to live a decent life. With a crippling amount of debt and no end in sight, you seek escapism in alcohol, fast food, and cigarettes, all of which drive you to an early grave unless you put down a few thousand more on medical bills. Healthcare consumes almost 18% of America's GDP, which is about $3.7 trillion. And because you don't know any better, you will pass the same lifestyle to your children. It looks like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Where can you go from here? How can you break out of the trap? The government is not going to help you, and no welfare fund will either. The first step is educating yourself. That doesn't mean getting a bunch of degrees and going to a prestigious college, although that can help too. It means teaching yourself about how money works. Learn about the financial markets and how to invest and build a portfolio.
I challenge anybody to do the following. Take 4 subjects: sales, negotiation, human nature, and money. Read every book above 400 reviews on Amazon that's 4+ star. You read those 4 topics, 2 years. Work your ass off, come back to me 2 years from now. Matter of fact, you won't even come back to me because you forgot about it because you're killing the marketplace. The market rewards people who outwork and out-improve. It's proven. This doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire in 2 years. Here's what it does mean to. Your market value is increasing. Somebody may offer you something special next 2 years.
The second step is self-care. That means maintaining good mental and physical health. The food you eat and your lifestyle directly impact your motivation to work and your expenses. The worse you keep yourself, the more medical bills you rack up. Step 3. Avoid taking on debt. You are now the cash cow for credit card companies, and once you get into debt, coming out of it becomes hell. Step 4. Find a side hustle. Keep the day job for a stable source of income, and start something on your own that will make you a little extra money. Create a course. Pick up freelance graphic designing. Provide translation services or teach kids English. If your excuse is you don't have time, take out time from binging Netflix and scrolling on your phone and give 2 hours a day to this side business.
Look at what you do in your spare time, and people go, I have no spare time. Well, yes, you do. If you broke it out, how much are you watching TV? How much are you on your iPhone, playing video games, doing things that really are not important? And take that time and channel it into the business that you want to create.
The aim is to scale it so one day you can leave your day job and start working for yourself and work as little as possible while still making more than enough to live a good life. And step 5, keep learning. Education doesn't stop when you start working, and it's this misconception that prevents many people from growing. When you learn, you begin to outgrow your job and circumstances, forcing you to look for bigger and better things. It won't be easy, but a few weeks of making the harder choices will change how you think and enable you to exit the loop and live the life you want to. The poverty loop is here to stay.